Hello and welcome to PalaceFanTV for our monthly review video, part 2 here at the Victory Club in Norwood. I'm Jim Daly and I've got Jay Crame from the Eagles Beak and Terence Ford from redandbluearmy.com. How you doing, lads?
Hello, good, thanks.
Good. So in the second part of these videos we do our player of the month, player performance of the month, we do a quick look at the loan roundup, and then we do our power rankings and see if they've changed. So, player of the month for November. Terence?
I think it's a relatively easy one for me this month. Yannick Bolasie scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
Taking his goal tally to the same as he got for the entirety of last season already this season, which is, you know, the thing that we've all said he needed to add to his game, is goals. At the rate he's going now, he could be 10, 12 goals. Then you can start talking about him in that £20 million bracket.
Yeah.
I was watching a game back today from Everton last night, and the commentator was saying, you know, there's none better than Yannick Bolasie on the counter-attack, which I think is a bit premature at the moment because sometimes his decision-making still leaves a lot to be desired. But I've seen so much advancement from him this month. His movement has been special. His finishing has been better. Just his all-round game just seems to be getting nicely polished up. So Pardew is obviously doing a great job with the coaching staff, and I wonder how much John Solako's got to do with it as well, because, you know, he played winger himself, and we're seeing massive developments in Zaha and Bolasie. So it doesn't seem too much to suggest that that's the reason why.
Could have been a very important signing for Palace. Jay, player of the month.
It's tough. For me, it's one of 3, and Bolasie's in with a shout as well. The other one is Scott Dam, but I think the player that's made a real difference to us is Connor Wickham.
Wow. Okay.
In the last few games, he's been the striker. He's had his critics, same as Hennessy has, but for me, he's made a real impact on the team since he's come back from injury, and I think that's coincided with, you know, a decent run of games. It's difficult to pick anybody decent from the Sunderland game, but yeah, the other games he's been a real threat for us up front. I say threat, not so much in terms of scoring goals, but, you know, holding the ball up. I mean, at Everton last night he was excellent holding the ball up and retaining possession and laying it off. Against Newcastle as well, I think he had 3 assists yesterday, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Just leading the line, it's that position. He just fits our formation perfectly, and for me, I think he's really impressed since he's come back.
Good stuff. So 2 players there that are improving, but also got a lot more to give.
Yeah.
Potentially of course season. My vote would go to James MacArthur, just because I think he's absolutely fantastic. He does everything and can do you could put him in any position, you could put him in goal and he'd like pull off worldy saves. I just think
as good as John Solako.
As good as John Solako, yeah, exactly. You could learn those skills from John Solako as well.
I'm slightly younger than you, and I only saw Clint Hill in goal for Palace.
Did he do all right? I don't remember that.
I can't remember.
It was for about 20 minutes. Sprony had to go off and get his head stapled up because he had a cut, and he went in goal and he pulled off a worldie of a point blank save. And,
really?
And everyone was singing England's number 1. I think we were away at Tranmere or somewhere shoddy like that, and it was ridiculous.
Good, I don't remember that at all. I've blanked those years out of my life. Right, performance of the month then, Terence.
I think we've had a few good individual performances, and it would be out of Bolasie or Wickham against Newcastle for me. And when I was writing about the game after, I gave it to Bolasie, but as I thought about it more, I think Wickham was just involved so much in that game. He only gets credited with 2 assists, but
it was 3 really, wasn't it?
3 really. I mean,
yeah, it was, yeah.
The rules are very strange that just because it nicked off of Colaccini, he doesn't get the assist. Very, very strange. But especially after the Sunderland game where he was abject, but because of the service that was given to him, to come back that strong, and bearing in mind that people jump on players back so quick, you know, he'd come back from 7 games out, but obviously he's had the problem, he's not really done it at Selhurst yet. We'd seen him do it at Chelsea, we'd seen him do it at Liverpool. It was the first time he'd actually turned it on at Selhurst Park. And so the home fans finally got a chance to see it, and there was a lot of people eating humble pie after that game who talked a lot of rubbish during the week. So
wait, they serve humble pie at the Homestown now?
Well, they should.
Yeah.
Their beef.
Big portions.
Yeah. Which the problem is, if
we'd run out before half time.
If it's as expensive as the 330 millilitre bottles of cider, no one would buy it. That's the problem. But yeah, so to just have that much of an effect on a game and not score a goal, you know, is special, and he was basically pivotal to the reason to our win. So
very good choice. Was that going to be yours?
It could easily be a Connor Wickham loving, couldn't it, today? But I'm going to go for James McArthur in that Newcastle game. I think he was excellent. I think you could give it to quite a few players from that game, to be fair. Wickham, Balassi. But McArthur really impressed me. His machine up and down the pitch. I think for that second goal, he was at the other end of the pitch at the start of the move, and
he won the ball.
Yeah, he won. That's right. He won the ball and ended up finishing it in the net. I think that just sums him up entirely. I think he had an excellent game. Scoring 2 goals, obviously the first goal, a bit of an affection, but you make your own luck, don't you?
Absolutely,
so yeah, he was excellent, and as we come to expect from him every game. But
well, that's the thing with him. He's so consistent, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Every week.
Yeah, I think he's quite underrated when people talk about Palace, and he's rarely mentioned for me, because he doesn't do the amazing stuff. He just does the simple stuff, and that's what you need from a player like him.
Yeah, I think it'd be a miss not to mention Zaha's performance at Anfield. That was excellent. I mean, it's easy to forget that because it's so long ago now, but. There was a few great performances at Anfield, especially defensively. Martin Kelly had an excellent game and can feel very unlucky to have lost his place since that game, because he was brilliant. I don't know how much of that is to do with wanting to perform against his older team. And he got a bit of stick for not celebrating the goals as well, didn't he?
Ridiculous. I hate all that stuff. It's so ridiculous.
But it was just funny how everyone's like going crazy and it's just him walking off like next to him. It did make for funny viewing.
Okay, so let's move on to our loan watch then. And one of our loan players, youth team players on loan at Hartlepool, has done great, hasn't he? Jay Crame.
Yeah, League 2, isn't it? League 2 player of the month.
Yeah.
Scored 2 I lie. He scored 2 goals in the game. One of them a cracking goal. The other one a massive deflection.
Well, they all count.
But in watching the highlights from that game and the game which they played against Salford in the Cup, you can just see he's on a different level to those players. His movement, he just looks so out of place on the pitch, and at such a young age he's doing that the Vardy goal when he broke the record against United, the pointing to where he wants the ball, he's doing that all the time and making great runs off of the ball. So kind of like Kai's been talked about a bit more, and Gray's kind of been a little bit more under the radar out of the ones that are pushing for a place, and I think he's the one who might have the most about him from what I've seen.
And the other loan players, how are they getting on?
And Keshe Anderson, he fractured his ankle, didn't he, in the end, which is unfortunate for him.
Just after scoring a few goals.
Yeah, he was on a good run at Doncaster, so hopefully he gets well soon.
Yeah,
but,
it's not as bad as it was initially thought.
No,
they thought it was a break before.
They did, yeah.
Good. Well, best of luck to him in the recovery. Normally in these videos as well, we catch up with how Palace ladies are doing, and last time we learned that they were absolutely smashing it. They still are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, only drawn 1 game in the league and won every other game. They've just beaten MK Dons, which are in the same division, rivals for the title this season, in the FA Cup, and they play West Ham in the next round. So that's a very big game.
Wasn't it a thumping in the FA Cup as well?
It was 4-0. Yeah, 4-0 away from
rivals.
Fantastic.
They sound like rivals.
I mean, it's a big result, and I think it was West Ham that knocked Palisades at the FA Cup last season. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare this time around.
Time for revenge. Absolutely. Well, that is fantastic. Well, congrats to the Palace ladies, and long may it continue, because that is brilliant to see. Actually, all Palace teams at the moment doing well.
Well, except from the poor old development team, because all the players have
gone.
So you've got like 15s and 16s playing in the under 18s, and all the 18s playing in the 21s. So but it's a good experience for them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Right, this is the point we move on to the power rankings, which is where we rank the top 5 players of the season month by month. So these were the rankings at the end of October. Where Cabaye top, Dan second, MacArthur third, Zaha and Dwight Gale in there.
You sound surprised now.
I must
You had to vote on that one as well.
I was vehemently against that inclusion.
Did I vote him in?
You did.
That's why I'm the host and don't give much opinion. Okay, so is Cabaye still top? We've had some really strong performances from Dan and MacArthur and Zaha. Enough to go top for any of them?
I think Cabaye probably comes off the top for me. He's not been... He's still a great player. I mean, I think it took him to the 70th minute or something last night to misplace his first pass, which is just ridiculous from a Palace perspective of, midfielders of the likes of Mark Kennedy and Wow.
In the same sentence.
Yeah, Mark Kennedy was fine if the ball was still and he could just kick it into the area. But MacArthur's in the same bracket of not giving the ball away much anymore. But for me, Cabaye comes off the top, and you're looking out at Dan MacArthur, and Balassi's got to come onto that list somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I personally would put Dan top. I know he had the slip up against Sunderland, but he's scored twice, and he's just even in the Sunderland game, but in all the games, he's just so class. And with Cabaye, if you take Cabaye out of our team, you're okay. There's replacements. You take Dan out of our team, you struggle. You really struggle.
Would you say as replacement in Cabaye's position at the moment? I'd find it a struggle to replace Cabaye at the moment.
Like for like, but you'd get by.
You'd lose in quality. You'd be losing quality of considerable amounts. But you've got Ledley, you've got Jednak, you've got Much. You've got players that can go into the middle of the park. We've got depth. I see what you're saying about Dan. Funny that because 6 weeks ago everyone was raving about Hangerland, but
oh yeah,
he does a good job when he comes in Hangerland, but Dan is very, very. One of the first names on your team sheet.
Yeah. So does he go top, or do you think MacArthur? We're basically going to find a space for Yannick in there, but who takes top spot?
Well, Wickham's got to be in the top 5 somewhere as well.
It's all change.
Controversial.
Well, I think we can all agree Gale's going to drop out of top 5.
Okay, so Gale's out. Who's going top?
Somewhere to start.
So Gale's out and Cabaye's off top spot. Who goes top then? That's the question.
It's a fair point about Dan being influential because he does influence the back line.
Yeah.
He does organise the back line.
Yeah.
Even though when Jednak's not playing, Delaney's captain, I think Dan has a lot to say in that back line.
And he's had a great month. 2 goals from centre back.
Yeah, to be slightly critical of there's the Sunderland and the Newcastle goal. He was ball watching and calls Papi Cisse to be onside.
Yeah.
I would put MacArthur over him.
Okay.
Just at number 1.
I would be happy with that. I love MacArthur, absolutely love him. And he is very consistent.
Yes.
Getting some goals.
Get 2 goals in there.
And he's quite funny on Twitter as well. So, for that reason, he's going top. Which I guess means Dan stays second.
Yeah.
And does that mean that Cabaye's in third? Can't be lower than third, can he?
Balassi.
Well,
third.
Well, he hasn't done much wrong, has he?
If we're basing it just purely on the month.
Well, we're not. It's the entire season influenced by the last month.
Right,
okay. Well, in that case, then I think
I'll put Cabaye second then and Dan third.
I
don't think Cabaye is worth dropping that far. I think he's still been influential in the games he's played.
Yeah,
I see your point.
Dan scored 2 goals. What we're saying was also made one catastrophic error.
Yeah, that's fair. So well, I still think it was Hennessy's fault. But we could argue about that.
No, it's between the 2 of them. Is that right? Yeah. Isn't it? But that communication should be there between you and your friend. We're saying he's influential.
Yeah. Okay. And that did lose us.
So it would feel weird to take him down a place after a month where he has scored 2 goals, but he has also cost us a point, potentially 3 points, because you never know, he might have found a way through. Cabaye over the course of the season, we're saying that way, he still needs to be in number 2 for me.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with you there. As much as I thought Dan should be top, he's now down to third. So that's the influence I have over this. So who's at 4th then?
I would say, again, sticking over the course of the season, I think Zaha stays 4th and Balassi has moved himself up to 5th.
So no place for Wickham?
Not yet.
From the guy that's got a Wickham on the back of his shirt?
I did. I've been telling everyone I told you so. I've been really trying to refrain not to. But, I'll wait till he bags a couple of goals first before I get the shirt back out and use it as a tablecloth.
We'll get more comments about that.
Yeah.
I think that Wickham has been great, but I think he'll get into the top 5 when he scores a goal. Is that harsh or is that fair enough?
It needs to be more consistent over the season.
I think it says a lot about the options we've got and the performances we've had so far this season. I think last month we were struggling. because we put Gale in 5th.
Yeah,
this month we've got, probably more than 5, So Zaha falls.
I would stick with Zaha because Zaha's performance at Liverpool was brilliant. His performance against Newcastle was brilliant. He was the best player of a bad bunch against Sunderland.
Yeah,
obviously missed last night, but technically this is for November, so.
Oh yeah, true. We are including Everton.
Zaha stays 4th for me,
and then Yannick into
moves
5th.
Up to 5th.
Okay, it's hard to miss him out, isn't it, for 3 goals.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So these are our power rankings for the end of November, start of December, for the entire season. There you go. So comment below the video with your thoughts. Would you agree with these power rankings, or are they in the wrong order? Should someone else be in there? Should Wickham be in the top 5? These guys don't think so. But,
and also comment below if you just jig the video back a couple of minutes until how the writing was before Jim scribbled over it. Who do you think's got better handwriting, David of PalaceFanTV or Jim Daly?
And we all know it's me. Good chaps, thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget you can subscribe for these videos and lots more from PalaceFanTV, and also don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Snapchat, where we're doing snaps of every away game this season. And thanks for watching. See you again soon.